Hi, and welcome back to the Mind of the Writer. So this week I'm going to lay the groundwork for a series of videos that I want to do throughout the summer, and I'm calling this series Parting Makes the Heart Grow Fonder, because we're going to be entering into the love story category, if you want to call it that way, and looking at behaviors off page and how they translate on page when it comes to love and muses and love stories and all of that. So I'm going to divide the next 4 weeks up into 4 different concepts that are going to come into play as I begin to explore the whole love story dynamic. So the first concept that we're going to look at is HIRAETH. The second one is a concept called LIMERENCE. The third one is MUSES. And the fourth one is what I'm calling the art of desire. So I thought in today's video I would give you a very quick overview of each one of those things so that you can be prepared for the next four weeks of video material. And before I go into that, I just wanted to say that once I've developed these theories and you've followed me through these developmental steps, then I will get the young man who works with me on the videos, Matthew, to put together a graphic representation, hopefully with some diagrams and visuals of the theories that I've come up with. So the first one is HIRAETH, and we'll be looking at that next week. So HIRAETH is the missing of one's homeland. So you could call it homesickness, but it's really a little bit more than homesickness. HIRAETH is a Welsh word, and it's a homesickness that is really infused with nostalgia. And in being separated from the country of your birth or from your homeland, the country that you are missing isn't the country itself, but it's the country that you've built up in your mind, in your imagination, and you long for that, but you can never have it. So HIRAETH is a little bit more than just homesickness. It is homesickness infused with nostalgia, and it comes with a sense of longing. And there's also this idea that when you return to your homeland and you set foot on your homeland, that all of that HIRAETH, all of those emotions just fade away. The second concept is called limerence. And limerence is a phrase or a word that was coined by an American psychologist called Dorothy Tenoff in the 1970s. And limerence is really an obsessive romantic infatuation on a person that you will never have, and that person is called a limerent object. And limerence comes with all sorts of unhealthy behaviors around it. So again, just like with HIRAETH, with limerence, there's a sense of distance, but there's a sense of longing, and there's also this sense of building that person or that limerent object up in your mind. The person in limerence that you're obsessed with is called the limerent object. And then we move to muses. And so muses in popular culture, if we were really to simplify it, we're just thinking about the people that inspire poets, songwriters, storytellers to create. So the inspiration behind all of that. And when I did some preliminary research on muses, questions that came up: can you be married to a muse? Can you have a love affair with a muse? Do you need to have distance again and not have them so that you can have that sense of longing in there? Can a muse be someone or something that is not human? Is there such thing as a spiritual muse? So there's all kinds of interesting concepts and theories around muses, and again I think they parallel this idea of HIRAETH and limerence. And then finally, the last one that I want to deal with before I come up with the main theory is what I'm calling the art of desire. And I've come up with this after listening and watching and reading a Belgian psychologist called Esther Perel, who I think is amazing. And she focuses a lot on something that she calls erotic intelligence. But I'm about to paraphrase her, but what she talks about is when you're in a relationship, that everyday relationship, and you're very close with someone, you're very enmeshed with them, and you're just living in close proximity, that there is no room for desire. You know everything about the person. And in order for you to have a really wonderful relationship with that person, a passionate relationship, there has to be distance. There has to be desire. Desire is a product of there being distance. And so these four concepts, HIRAETH and limerence and muses and the art of desire, all involve distance, and they all involve longing. And so I think that they're four really interesting concepts that I can work with as I start to figure out how fiction writers navigate the off-page world and the on-page world when it comes to creating love stories. And in those creations, how much of these behaviors do they, or feelings or emotions, do authors exhibit? So next week we'll start with HIRAETH and we'll move on from there. So thank you for watching and supporting, and I look forward to exploring this next part of the journey with you. So we'll see you next week on The Mind of the Writer.